joining us. The program is Mandate 2015. It is a program we have put together to come to you daily on MITV to usher in the general 2015 elections. And it's an election countdown program where we look at issues arising towards the election. And today on the program, like we said, we'll be talking about party manifestos. And well, joining us for that discussion this evening, we have Mr. Yemi Daniels, who's a public affairs analyst. You're welcome, Mr. Yemi.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being a part of the show.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we're starting off with you. Maybe we'll first start by knowing what exactly manifestos are. You know, because a lot of people just believe manifestos are maybe write-ups we write for the party. Are manifestos relevant for candidates or for the party? Let's start off from there. What are manifestos?
Yeah, again, thanks for having me.
Okay.
Basically, a manifesto is like a party policy document that indicates that gives an overview of what a party and its candidate has to do within a set time.
Okay.
So it is relevant for the candidates and at the same time relevant for the party. As a matter of the truth, without a manifesto, the people the electors who have no idea, they have no slightest clue on what the party intends to do. So that's why the manifesto is very, very important in a political process.
And you also talked about timing.
Yes.
You said for a particular time frame.
Oh yes, it depends. The timing has to do with the political process, the political time, the political
Time
structure
frame.
of the environment. In a country where it's a five-year democratic term, it's gonna embody that time. And actually, it could be long term sometimes. It could be short term, it could be medium term, it could be long term, depending on the political environment.
And for example, maybe let's talk about, for example, candidates who, for example, are serving in a term, and maybe they have they endorse the game for the second term. Of course, they have to continue with the manifesto of the party.
Yes. Yes, basically, like that was why I said it's a party document.
Right.
It's not for the candidates.
Right.
The party hands it over to the candidate. You are the symbol of the party in this office. And this is a guideline. This is a guiding paradigm upon which you are going to govern or sit in that representative privilege.
All right, so this manifesto we are talking about, is it a document that's supposed to be for the party, or is it something that should be circulated amongst people? Because people have no idea about plans or projects that this party have while they're in governance.
Unfortunately, we have a situation in our hands that the political parties we have no access, the electors do not have access to the manifestos. And that is if they even have at all. And it's unfortunate. And it actually ordinarily it decimates the chances of the party. Secondly, it keeps the electorates in the dark. So you're not likely to be able to hold the party accountable because you have no idea
Of what the
manifestos were. So ordinarily it's like people taking people for granted, political parties taking people for granted that either way we will get their votes. You understand? So at that point, it's like it looks like a rulership system, like a monarchy. It's no longer a democracy. So unfortunately so. As we speak, honestly, the party manifestos are nowhere to be found.
So what did they discuss at campaigns then?
Unfortunately, and that's why we have so much of mudslinging. You understand? Our campaigns are not issue-based. And it's unfortunate that 16 years down the line, we would have expected that some democratic ethos should have become part and parcel of us after 16 years. Unfortunately, it's not that way. And I will fault the political elite for this. I have always said at different fora that I feel there is a conspiracy against the ordinary Nigerian among the
conspiracy.
Yeah, it looks like it's true. If parties cannot even produce manifestos of what they want to do, how long it's going to take them to accomplish it, plans they have for the power sector, the taxation, you know, it goes round.
Because you expect that
about the economy.
You expect that these are some of the things they should be telling the people they want to govern. When I come into power, I intend to do this, do this, and do this. But situation where we do not have this, then would it be right then to say that maybe we also have to make some clarification about manifestos and guiding principles? So what are guiding principles? Guiding principles also manifestos?
Actually, guiding principles are supposed to be, like we say, guiding principles, the philosophy of governance from which political objectives we thrust. You understand? Now, if there are no guiding principles, ordinarily there will be no focus for political objectives. So the idea is that the guiding principle must be as a matter of the truth, it is the core of the manifesto. The guiding principles are the core of the manifesto. Some people call it philosophy of governance. It is actually supposed to be the core of the manifesto, around which political objectives revolve. So that's the way it's supposed to be.
So you're saying that through the guiding principles, you birth the manifesto?
Yes. Yes. It's like this. It's the heart of the manifesto. It's the heart of it. Just like the heart of a man determines what happens to the man. You understand? And when the man, unfortunately again, there are no ideologies. Even where there are manifestos. If you go online, you could see the PDP manifesto online. And if you shop around, you could see the APC manifesto too. But trust me, as I speak to you, no ideology, no guiding principles.
No guiding principles.
Honestly.
So what does this portend for democracy?
Very good. It simply tells us that our democracy is still infantile. And it's still in the formative stage. And I would expect that given technology and the fact that we have people to look up to, it should give us the privilege of fast tracking our own process. Now people talk about the American democracy, it's over 200 years. It took them a whole lot of time because there were no people to look up to. In our circumstance, we could actually learn from other people. We could say, okay, this is the way it's been done here. We may not necessarily do exactly what they do there.
But maybe some things that are making things work well for them.
Yes. And I keep saying it. Honestly, there is a conspiracy against the ordinary Nigerian among the political class.
Why are you saying that? Why are you so sure that you think there's a conspiracy against the common man?
Very good. I would always ask the question. I believe that politicians are very intelligent people, if you ask me. And they go abroad. They see what happens overseas. They come here. They do something totally different. And in my opinion, I stand to be corrected. The Nigerian is very ingenious. And I feel the political classes they're scared. That if you allow Nigerians to develop at the pace that they desire to develop, they can upset the system and choose their own leaders. So the best thing is to keep them down. Let them grow at the pace. Let the political process be at their own pace. You understand? Whoever they decide, it's a politics of patronage we play. Whoever they please, they help. You understand? Now they create a survivalist mentality, such that now if you cannot stay, if you're not economically buoyant, you are not subservient to some political parties or some candidates. Now, who now scripts you the way they want you to reason? And that's why every time you see a semblance of mass movement, they identify the leadership framework, and they pick 1, 2, 3 and call them up, settle them, and that's the end of the movement. You understand? So that's why I keep emphasizing. Now look at it. The two major political parties we have, they are birds of the same feather. People move from here to here.
To there,
And there is virtually no difference. It's just that some people are better packaged than the other people. You understand? The PA of a senator told me 6 years ago, he said, let's not deceive ourselves, we are the same. It's just that the way we go about it is different. He said, we are fundamentally the same. So that's why the political development is very slow. It's at a snail's speed.
So which means it's deliberate.
Honestly, I feel it's deliberate. I believe it's deliberate. It's deliberate, honestly.
Okay, now what is the effect of all of this on the common man?
Good. It keeps the common man we never have the ability to be able to call the shots in the country of his own. Is excluded, is disenfranchised from governance. And you see, in the Maslow hierarchy of needs, at the pinnacle of it is our ego needs, and that has to do with the power needs, the desire to be part of governance.
Desire.
Yes, the desire to be part of governance, to choose who you want to govern, and many other things. So with this system, it's like a sandwich system. You can't expand, you can't grow beyond the thinking of some people, beyond the space, the allocated space, so to say. There is an allocated space. You can go beyond this point. And each time you try to go beyond this, they deprive you of something somewhere, so that you have to go back a little bit. So that's the idea.
All right, I know that presently in our democracy, Nigerians have grown to a level where we've started to ask questions. Like say, oh, if you vote for me, I'm going to provide 2 million jobs. Now Nigerians have begun to ask, how? Which sector are you going to rejuvenate to produce these jobs? Now, would you say that this thing we call this manifesto is supposed to have a clear-cut picture of how you intend to accomplish these promises you make to the people? Or is it just supposed to be like a statement, oh, I will create 2 million jobs, and it ends there? Or the workability of how you're going to create these jobs?
As a matter of the truth, the workability is actually the crux of the matter.
Okay.
You understand? You spell out your governance philosophy, the political objectives of those philosophies, and how do you intend
to actualize
blow by blow.
Okay.
Now, I've only seen a person in the last 16 years, just one person has done a campaign that I would give it to any time, any day. I'm not sure if I'm permitted to mention, but honestly, I was impressed because he gave a blow-by-blow analysis of how he was going to govern a state if he became governor of that state. It was on Bayelsa elections. In, I think it was 2012. And they gave a blow-by-blow analysis up from insurance to transportation. You see, you could actually hold him. You see, I keep saying to people, governance has become empirical. It has become empirical. I can't forget 1993 elections. What impressed me about Abiola was that he was able to tell me the marginal production of a barrel of crude oil in 1993. When the industry was still seriously shrouded in mystery. Now today, a politician comes on board, like you said, he wants to create 2 million jobs. How? Which sector? And it worsens it because we don't have, we Nigerians, we are beginning to ask questions. We lack the ability to follow through. A politician promises 2 million jobs, and we possibly asking how does he want to do it. It bamboozles us again. It tells us it will create another strategic framework for mineral resources.
How?
And you now say, how? You understand? This is, the mineral resource has been here since forever. Now, if you can't do it in 16 years, what gives us the surety
that you will not
that
do
you
it?
will be able to do it? Now, because you see, these things go beyond paper.
It goes beyond just talking.
Now, to a large extent, paper gives us an idea. And paper makes us realize that, okay, you have a comprehensive view of what we need. Now, we are able to give you the benefit of the doubt because you can articulate your thoughts. That if you could articulate your thoughts, that means, okay, we can trust him, that he knows what he's doing. But unfortunately, that ideology, political ideology, if it's not there, it will go back to the same story. Because the core, you cannot build something on nothing.
Or nothing. So
if there is no political ideology, you understand, whatever it is, no matter how well articulated you are, because there is no framework. There is no, you understand? That's
all right, now I want to come in at this point. Will you say that has it anything to do with them budgets? manifestos and guiding principles?
As a matter of the truth, if you had a manifesto, everything builds on the manifesto. Now, the budget framework, the budget policy, the budget implementation process stems from that same manifesto. Now, if so, if there is no reasonable manifesto, you understand, even the budget process and implementation will be for, and that accounts for the reason we record low budget performance year in, year out.
I was going there, yeah.
So that's usually the problem. That's why we can see that somebody removes first subsidy today, tomorrow. You understand that, all of that. No matter how well-intentioned it might seem, because there is no reasonable background that we can identify with, suspicion sets in.
All right, still talking about party manifestos on the program this evening. You're welcome back. We're still on Mandate 2015, and well, we have seen people's reaction to.
And I love that the closing clip there. God bless Nigeria. And
he said it should actually be God save Nigeria. All right.
While the package was on, we were chatting.
Yeah.
I remember we were talking about manifestos, that these are things that every Nigerian should be privy to. We should go back, we have copies of it, we should be able to read. And I mean, this should also ordinarily form the basis for your choosing who you want to vote for, what party you want to believe in. I mean, you have said that you think they're deliberately denying Nigerians access to this, so that maybe they will not be held accountable for some of these shortfalls when they're in power. Now, my question now is, for how long will this continue to be? Now, you're a Nigerian, and if you are thinking that in this way that well, they are deliberately denying Nigerian access to this, I know that this will also be going in the minds of so many people. So at what point are we going to be set loose?
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much. I have also advocated that one of the reasons the politicians are taking this right is because it is a participation that is Nigeria. Wise man did say the business of governance is too serious to be left in the hands of politicians. Because politicians across the borders, across the world, they are just about the same.
Let's sing the
song
of
Yeah, they are. What checks the American politician is the system. And that system was not built by politicians, it was built by citizen participation. Everybody collaborated together.
Which is what we don't have.
We don't have. There is no, unfortunately, the politicians wouldn't want to create that structure where we don't have that. You understand? Now, unfortunately, something happened in 1999. Now, between 1985 and 1993, there was so much push by the civil society for democracy up until 1999 that gave birth to what we have today. Unfortunately, the civil society went to sleep. There was an assumption that democracy would deliver good governance. And that was why you notice that they never participated in the political process except that they voted. They left the field for the politicians. And while that went on, politicians quickly hijacked the structure and the system. So the only saving grace for us now is that citizens need to begin to participate actively, begin to ask questions, ask your councillor, ask your chairman, ask your state governor what he's doing with the resources at his disposal. We need to be able to, you see, interestingly, we're no longer in the 50s when they said people they don't know what's going on. The largest demography is the post-Civil War demography. Over 18 million people are in that demography, and most of them went to school. At least they had a secondary education. You understand? Not even in the north that seem to be educationally disadvantaged. That demography is massive in the north that went to school. You understand? Now, to that extent, I would say that generation should go beyond survivalism. As long as we preach the politics of survivalism, that let me just take what I want, trust me, we will keep being in this conundrum. And you see, you might be lucky and your children will not be lucky. And that's the big picture.
So what you're saying in essence is that we should attribute this breakdown in law and order and unproductiveness we're experiencing in our society based on this lack of manifestos.
Manifestos, and because we are not participating. You see, it goes beyond voting.
So sorry, let me come in here. So how can we participate when our destinies are in the hands of certain people, and the only thing you can say is to listen to them? So
who do you even complain to?
Who do you complain to? And how do you checkmate anything going wrong?
Now, my father always told me something while I was younger. He said the rich man does not look at obituaries in newspapers.
Does not look out.
They don't look at obituaries in newspapers.
So what do they look at?
They're scared of death. The slightest threat to the life of a politician, it cowers. Do you know that one of the reasons they did not take us for a ride in 2012 was Occupy Nigeria? Now, if there was nothing like Occupy Nigeria, maybe fuel subsidy would have been totally removed. You understand? And would have had to suffer heavily for it. Now, you see, protest doesn't necessarily have to be walking on the streets. We can decide on a day that we are protesting, sometimes we wear red bandanas. It will send signals to the political class. You understand? People can decide, some people can decide. You see, we need to evolve creative ways of asking questions without necessarily breaking down the system.
Going on the streets.
You understand? We must, you see, the moment they see that we are beginning to galvanize, that we are beginning to speak with one voice, they will begin to make adjustments because they do not want to lose their offices. You understand? So it is in that bid that we can now begin to have some measure of development.
But can you see Nigerians actually cooperating to that level?
You know,
the way we are now?
I would say yes and I would say no. Now, the yes part of it, let me give a scenario. In 2011, in Surulere, we led a movement, and I realized at that movement, during the 2011 elections, 2011 local government elections, I realized that if Nigerians knew that the leader is not corrupt, they would follow. I was part of that movement, and the guy that led that movement then, that we were pushing, that movement, the ruling party won, but they came back to tar 26 streets. 26 streets was tarred because of that movement. Because a night to that movement, they brought money, we refused it. On the day of elections, boys that had no job were offered 15,000, they refused it, each. And at the end of that day, yes, eventually they manipulated that election.
But it has sent, you would have sent a signal.
26 streets was tarred in that environment because of, the vice chairman was staying 2 streets away from mine, for instance, and he sent money and nobody says, he said, no way. You understand? They manipulated both, but he told them that if we try this next time, we might have our fingers burnt. So it's about people. You see, it's not going to be one-man show. We must collaborate. We must drop the things that politicians used to divide us: ethnicity, and religion,
and even by money.
Yes, and we must. You see, the issue is that poverty does not know ethnicity, it doesn't know religion. You understand it? The poverty is the biggest industry in Nigeria, and corruption, obviously. And so, if we can be united in our inadequacies, we can strengthen ourselves.
So, Mr. Davis, that means in essence that we can hold our leaders accountable.
Oh yes, if we choose to. The social media has given us opportunities. And that's why I feel that one of the biggest things the social media should do to the African is the ability to participate in governance. Not all the frivolities that we see. It's the ability, because you don't have to pay to air your views anymore like they used to be.
In the past.
In the past. So you could actually develop your own platform and you keep pushing thoughts. You see, likes attract. If I'm pushing it here and I am saying this, somebody in the north is saying the same thing without ethnic sentiments, we will connect.
Constructively.
Yeah, constructively. Somebody criticized an opinion a few days ago in my office, And I said, what is the alternative? And he couldn't give it. I said, don't criticize anymore.
All right, the program is still Monday 2015 and countdown to February 14, the presidential election date. We will have a break now. We're going to town with sample people's opinion about the reduction of the fuel price. And people are saying that the act is not genuine. And some people are saying it is genuine. Some people are saying it's ill-timed. Mr. Davis, do you think it's ill-timed or is it a genuine thing? We'll come back to you. Let's listen to what the people have to say. We'll be back after now.
Precisely 3 years ago, the price of petrol was fixed at 97 naira after the federal government made an abortive move for the full deregulation of the downstream sector, which initially saw the pump price rocket to more than 140 naira per litre. The move was challenged by a general uprising across the country led by the Occupy Nigeria movement, which organized cities shutdowns across major cities in the country.
This is exactly what we expect from Nigerians. We want all our Nigerians that are not with us here to come out and join us. It's a protest that we want to force government to refer back to the old 65 naira.
Following the crash in the price of the crude oil in the international market, the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Daizani Alison Madrikwe, on Sunday night announced the reduction in the price of premium malted spirit, otherwise known as petrol, from 97 naira to 87 naira per litre.
Under the approval and directive of Mr. President, and in line with Section 6, Clause 1 of the Petroleum Act, that it is my responsibility as the Minister of Petroleum and my delight to announce today that there will be a reduction in the pump price of petroleum or premium motor spirit by 10 naira. Therefore, the reduction will be from 97 naira per litre to 87 naira per litre, and this will be effective as of midnight, Sunday, the 18th of January 2015.
Alison Madrikwe said the Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPPRA, and the Directorate of the Petroleum Resources, DPR, have been directed to ensure strict compliance by filling stations. A visit to some of the filling stations, however, reveals otherwise.
I didn't see any changes there because they are supposed to have done this one for almost 2 years now. I think whether it's this gimmick for election. After you made 3 weeks for election, you are now reducing the fuel. Why can't you reduce it for the past 2 years?
It's a relief, and at least there's more change to the pocket, because driving in Lagos with the traffic and the craziness of Lagos, it's really taking toll on people's pockets, stress and everything. So the fuel reduction is really welcome.
Definitely it has affected the cost of running business. You know, we transport goods from the north to the south and we redistribute in Lagos. So we are seeing the effect on the cost of redistribution in Lagos.
As commuters and residents alike say the pump price reduction would make life easier for them in the wake of the austerity measure put in place by the government, the onus now lies on the federal government to ensure complete compliance.
The election is around the corner. It's more politically motivated. It is not a right thing at all. Besides, if you look at the way the crude oil prices is going around the world now, the price should have gone not more than 70 naira. Having it at 87 naira is still not a far cry. It's not doing justice to the average Nigerian.
There's nothing about politics there. It is normal, and it is the normal reduction of fuel pump price. So I don't see anything political there.
As the price of oil is dropping, they're supposed to consider us. Because the other time when they will increase the price, they said it's because the world market price is increasing. As the world market price is falling, they're supposed to have reduced the price even below this 87. The 87 is we still plead that they should still reduce it for us. I don't know if it is for political reason, but on my own opinion, as far the price, the world market price is reducing, the price of this oil is supposed to be reduced.
Reason being that since the fuel price has been reducing all this while in the global market, and the man has not reduced the price, when he's now campaigning, he now reduce. Election is less than 20 days. The man now reduce the fuel price. So I think it's for political reason, nothing more, nothing less.
Jonathan has been having some efficiency, but just of a recent, he's a listening president. Though the price has not been regulated nationwide, but for now it's not for political reason. With my best knowledge, he did it based on what's on ground, and he's a man that listens to criticism. People criticize him, and he does, he do listen. So based on that, I don't think, well, my personal opinion, I don't think it's for political reason.
I heard that there is a fall in oil price throughout the whole world, and a reasonable president or a reasonable head of state will look to it and reduce the price of the fuel. So, in that way, it's political reason, because if it's not a political reason, he would have reduced the price of fuel before now.
This the price of fuel in the world has been reduced for how many years, for how many months now? And you see today that the election remains 2 or 3 weeks to come, that they reduce the price of fuel. So it's politics. That's what I know.
I would say that technically it is for political reasons. On this premise that the price in the first place shouldn't have been increased. We are a crude oil generating country. We explore crude oil in this place, so we should as well be able to go into the production. In other countries that crude oil are generated, OPEC nations for instance, in Saudi Arabia, the first 5 liters of fuel you buy is for free, and they sell in a lower price even than the American benchmark. So if we, bring out crude oil from our soil here, if we refine here, then we shouldn't even buy up to that level. Now, if we try to look at how much they are selling in America compared to how much we are selling in our naira, in the first place we shouldn't even use dollar as our benchmark, because we spend naira. So I would say it is simply for political reasons. It's seeking its second time.
It's not for political reasons. Like in Nigeria, good luck is not only working for himself.
That's the voice of the people, and well, I think they're really talking intelligently. But I want you to react to that. What do you perceive?
What's your
how
take?
do you perceive? Yeah, how do you perceive it?
Well, interestingly, we really cannot blame Nigerians for the suspicion, and the government over the years, successive governments have created that mistrust, that distrust. So there is actually no synergy between the government and the governed. So there is so much of suspicion, people do things for sinister motives and all of that. But again, in the circumstance, I think we need to understand the background of this subsidy issue. The people, the countries of the world where it was reduced, where it went down much before now, operated a market-driven price system, where the government does not control the prices. And so in a market-driven system, naturally when the cost of production reduces, the cost of supply will reduce. So naturally, all of those costs reduces. So when in the market price, they naturally drop because the cost of production has reduced. Now, but in our climate where the price is actually regulated, and up until I think the first week, up until December, the end of December, it was still within the place where government could not afford to reduce it. I know that as up until the last week of December, the government was still paying 50 kobo on subsidy. Oh, we're paying 50. So it was when the price actually crashed below 50. But what I would have expected government to do, because you see, we operate a rulership mindset here, where it's like a Kabiosi concept, where you don't question the authority of government. Government should have come clean on the parameters that gave the 87 naira price.
Right, because I was going to say, some people believe that it shouldn't become, it should be lower than the 87% weight, 87,000 naira we're talking about.
To remove all of this suspicion and all of these things, the parameters that the government adopted should have been made public. So it will not be subject to debate and say, okay, is this fair enough if it's not fair enough?
Which would show that we are actually practicing democracy.
Yes. Well, you see, they just wake up one morning and tell them that it's 87 naira per liter now, and give a reason. So people they have given room for suspicion, but I think it's for economic reasons.
All right. Well, at this point, I think we should just take a few calls before we wrap up on the program this evening. Hello. Good evening. Hello. We seem to have lost.
Okay, I think we should also remind people that what we actually wanted to comment on this program is the issue of the party manifesto and your opinion regarding this fuel price reduction.
Hello. Good evening. Who's speaking?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Who's speaking and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Daily.
Welcome, Daily.
Thanks for calling.
Please go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I do understand what you're saying. Also, the challenge right now is the timing of the election.
Okay.
It makes the government look at the under pressure. I mean, the party point of view. But as a young man said, it really is an economic issue to some extent. But for all you know, it's going to become earlier than that. I mean, the average Nigerian is able to go, but now there is help for people. So people are definitely going to send their anger. But what they can do is try and convince them, and also be clear and confident. That's the bottom line, really.
All right. Thank you, Dele, for calling. All right. So he said, talking about the timing, but that was what makes it look like Nigerians will surely read meanings into it. So what's your reaction to that?
It boils down to suspicion. And you see, the problem sometimes about, we keep talking about timing. We should also understand there are things that government sees that we do not see. Government is operating from a vantage position.
Right.
You understand? To that extent, there are certain things government cannot come out and tell us.
Say.
They won't be able to tell us.
Hello, yes, we have another call. Hello.
Hello, good evening. Yes, who is speaking and where are you calling from? Yanopaja, Prince, all right. Please go on.
You know, actually, the fuel price, they are producing. But you know that if you go to any police station today around, that they have not been able to adopt that particular issue with their own machine that they are using to sell to people. Okay? For certain time in this country, people will do whatever they want. You can't even mind it. It has become something that has come because government has reduced it, they have reduced it. So the people now selling how to citizens also adopt it. Exactly as government has applied that policy. So they could not be able to do that, and nobody is able to monitor them and see whether
compliance.
What they are doing outside there is okay. So that is the solution. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Prince. Thanks for calling. All right, so his own issue is the issue of compliance. That filling stations are not complying anyway, so...
You want to react to
Yes, that? I know that as at yesterday, a few filling stations were shut down for non-compliance. But I think they should do a lot more than that. The level of compliance is actually slow. And that's why sometimes when people perceive this government as weak, it's founded. You understand? For crying out loud, this is about the 72nd hour that the fuel price was reduced. I would expect that. You see, businessmen do not comply except there is a strong regulatory framework.
Hello, good evening. Hello? Hello? Okay, I think we lost the call. Yes, can continue.
So basically, I would expect DPR to do a lot more. It's not fair that there is a directive, a high-power directive of that nature, and some people are treating it with frivolities. It should be adhered to immediately, because when it was reviewed upwards, as soon as it was reviewed upwards,
were compelled. People were compelled.
People were not compelled.
Oh, they didn't hesitate.
Complied. They did not hesitate.
They didn't hesitate.
You understand?
Hello, we have let's take the last call. Hello. Yes, good evening. Who's speaking? Could you speak up? Abdullahi, could you please speak up?
All right.
Go ahead, please.
I look at
All right, thank you, Abdullahi. I think what he's saying is that the issue, that it's political. That if not before, long before now, people have been agitating for a reduction in fuel price. So why is it now? You know, why is it now? We are canvassing for votes.
But just like Mr. Daniel said, that, you know, the government is in a vantage position, and so sometimes there are some things they see that we do not see, which might have informed this decision. Well, for time factor, we'll be wrapping up on this note, but before we sign off, we want to thank Mr. Yemi Daniels for being a part of the show today. Well,
thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
And so Monday 2015, we'll return again tomorrow. Thank you for being a part of the show. We'll discuss manifestos and, of course, talked about the reduction in the fuel price. My name is Tumokedi, so we'll be back again next tomorrow, God willing, for yet another edition.
And I'm Jimmy Michaels. We want to say thank you for staying with us on the program. Tomorrow, we'll be discussing the Peace Pact. Well, there is a clamor that it should be extended to state level. What do you think about it? That's what we'll be talking on the program tomorrow. So don't fail to join us for another interesting and informative edition of the program Mandate 2015. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.